So Raw sucked again, pretty much. Was so bad, I'm going to completely level with you here. Was so bad, I left the house at 10:30 to go give a friend a ride. Because I really didn't give a shit what was happening after that. But never fear, I did manage to find some semblance of notes for what I missed. It wasn't much. Who gives a fuck? Let's go ahead and start this, I guess. March 21st, 2016, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Wells Fargo Center. Show starts off with a recap from last week, Roman attacking Triple H, beating the crap out of him. Cutting live into the arena, Stephanie comes out to no goddamn reaction. And she starts talking. She says that Triple H won't be here tonight because he's got business shit to take care of. Whatever. I think the crowd popped because they're like, yay, no Triple H. She also happens to mention, this was one of the worst things I think I've ever heard this bitch say. She mentions anybody who wants a refund for the fact that they're not going to be able to see Triple H, you're going to have to do that in the next 10 seconds because the box offices are closing. Yeah. Basically sticking it in everyone's face. You're going to get a shit show tonight, so... And you're not getting your refunds, so whatever. She talks a bunch more hot garbage, who gives a shit. Roman's music hits, and he comes out from the stage for once. He comes down. He got a mixed reaction from the sound like. There was some boos in there, but I also heard what seemed like a lot of people cheering, although that may have been piped in. I don't know. Anyways, Roman gets into the ring. Steph starts running her mouth again. She's saying something to the effect of, you come into my building, into my ring, and all this other happy horse shit. And Roman just covers the microphone. And he takes it away from her. And he starts talking a bunch of smack, whatever the fuck. He basically says, you know, I know the real reason why Triple H isn't here tonight is because he doesn't want to get his ass kicked again. And he also says that WrestleMania, I'm going to walk into your building, into your ring, and I'm going to beat your husband, and I'll be taking my WWE World Heavyweight title. And he ends on the line, now I'm the authority. And then he just sort of chucks the microphone, I guess, over to Lillian Garcia or whatever, but he chucks the mic away. That's basically the end of the segment. Roman leaves, and Stephanie's left in the ring, dumbfounded, looking pissy. After that, they hype up a match between AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, and that's going to be next, and they cut to a commercial. Coming back from the commercial, AJ comes out to a big pop. And while he's coming out, we get a recap from SmackDown. The shit with Jericho and AJ. Let's see, what was it? AJ was having a match with Owens, I believe. Jericho came out and distracted him, and that cost AJ the match. I think that's what happened. It doesn't matter. After the recap, Owens comes out and he gets a little bit of a pop as well. And we get a match between these two, and it was a good match aside from, of course, the finish, which is always the damn problem here. I'll go over the spots. Towards the beginning of the match, they had... I can't remember exactly what happened. Owens was on the outside of the ring. AJ went to do a springboard to the outside, but Owens moved, but AJ, being awesome like he is, just turns it around and landed on the apron. And Owens went to grab AJ's leg, but AJ kicks him off, and so Owens was backed up. AJ does a standing moonsault from the apron. He doesn't even use the ropes to spring off. He does it from the apron, moonsaults. Owens gets out of the way, but AJ lands on his feet. He turns around real quick. He's like, where's Owens at? He runs towards Owens, who's over by the barricade. Owens lifts him up and flapjacks him onto the barricade. So AJ gets wiped out there. That was a cool exchange, and it was really cool. Commercial break after that. Later on, AJ went for the Pele, but Owens got out of the way, just kind of ducked it, whatever the fuck. And as AJ's getting up, Owens nails him with a clothesline, and AJ does the Rikishi bump, which is the flipping, spinning inside out and everything. So we do that. Somebody hit a rack neck breaker. I think it was Owens hitting it on AJ. Yeah. It gets him up in the torture rack, you know, the inverted fireman's carry rack, and then spinning them into a neck breaker. So, yeah, that was cool. And then after that, Owens went for his cannonball, but AJ got out of the way. AJ got Owens up on the top turnbuckle. He had to fight to do that because they were fighting back and forth, and AJ's struggling to lift Owens' heavy ass. But he finally gets him up there, and he goes for a top rope Frankensteiner, but Owens holds on to the ropes, and AJ just kind of falls. And AJ hits the ground, and he's out. Owens goes up to the top and does a nice frog splash from the top rope. And so that was cool. There was an interesting exchange. They went back and forth. Owens super kicked AJ in the chest, and AJ backed up and turned around, and then he does the Pele kick, and he nails Owens with it, so he nailed it that time. There was another commercial break. Trying to remember what exactly this was. I have written down here Avalanche Bomb. Oh, right, that's the name of the move. AJ does this move. I think he calls it the Avalanche Bomb. Basically what it is, again, he gets the guy up in the torture rack, he racks him a couple of times, and then he spins him around into a power bomb and power bombs him down. He's done this in TNA. He did it so many times in TNA. I'm sure he's done it throughout his indie career and everything like that. But yeah, he nails that on Owens. I'm amazed he was able to get Owens up and hold him for so long, because Owens is not like twice AJ's size, but he's a bit heavier than AJ, and, you know, whatever. But yeah, so AJ hits the Avalanche Bomb. And I have it written down here in my notes. There was a good counter during the commercial break. This is the previous commercial break that came after the Pele kick. They showed, like, a replay. This happened during the commercial. I'm like, yeah, this is why commercials during matches suck. Because then cool stuff happens and we don't get to see it. Oh, right, now I remember what it was. During the commercial break, AJ was on the apron. He nails Owens to stagger him. He went for the springboard forearm. But Owens counters by super kicking AJ's legs out from under him as he jumped up to the top rope. So Owens kicks him in the legs, and AJ took a nice spill out to the outside of the ring. So yeah, that looked really good. Right. Then the two of them, AJ's like up on the top rope, and Owens grabs him, and they're fighting back and forth, and finally they get up there. Oh, right. For some reason, Owens got AJ up on his shoulders like he was going to go like a Samoan drop or something like that. AJ slips out of it and does a nice sunset flip powerbomb, and I had to make a note of that because it looked like Owens hit his head on the canvas real goddamn hard. I thought for sure he had a damn concussion after that. Because it looked hard. Sometime after that, Jericho comes out on the stage and he's got a microphone and he's mockingly chanting AJ Styles. You know. And what ends up happening, like I said, the finish, the bullshit finish once again. What happened was, as Jericho was chanting AJ's name, he's coming down to the ring. Well, AJ tried to shrug it off, and he did a roll through on Owens trying to go for the calf killer. Well, at that point, when he locks in the calf killer, Jericho's up on the apron. So AJ immediately breaks the calf killer, and he goes over to hit Jericho, who jumps off like a coward. And I guess Owens came from behind, schoolboy 1, 2, 3. Owens rolls him up for the win. And we get shit finish to a good match. This was a good match. And they ruined it with this bullshit. Oh, right. After AJ lost, he rolls out of the ring and runs after Jericho, who had already started going up the ramp. Jericho takes off. He's running from AJ because he don't want none. He don't want none. So anyways, that leaves Owens in the ring, and he's got a microphone for some reason. I'm like, oh God, what is this shit? He starts talking. He's talking. Everybody wants to know who my opponent is going to be at KO Mania, because he's been referring to WrestleMania as KO Mania. And he's talking about who's going to be my opponent. Ziggler's music hits, and he comes out wearing a suit. And he's got a microphone, and he's talking. And I had to write this down. He's talking about like KO Mania, WrestleMania, Botchamania, or he actually said Botchamania. And he's talking to Owens, yada, yada, yada. And then the Miz's music hits, and he comes out. Talking like I deserve a shot at the Intercontinental title. They're all talking like they want a shot at the title. And then after a minute of the Miz talking, Sami Zayn comes out, and he gets a pop. And he even gets an Olay chant. And he's talking, you know, I've been waiting for a long time to have a shot at Kevin Owens. You know, he injured me and this and that and whatever the fuck. And Owens bails the fuck out, and he's like, you know what, I'll go talk to the Authority, you know, Stephanie, since Triple H ain't here, but I'm going to go talk to the Authority and see if we can have us a good old triple threat match between you three to see who's worthy of a shot at my title. And so, yeah, he fucks off. That's the end of that segment. Sorry, my nose is running for some reason. Might be that I just came in from the cold air. They show a hype thing. We get hype for... They're going to do Ambrose versus Braun Strowman. And that's going to be later on. It's actually the main event. After that hype thing, they say, you know, earlier on in the day, before the show, Ambrose was having some fun at a bar here in Philadelphia. And they cut to a clip of this. Ambrose is in some bar. He's talking a bunch of shit. Cutting a promo on Brock, whatever the fuck. And then up comes Terry Funk. And I'm like, what the fuck is he doing here? And Funk starts ranting and raving, going off the fucking deep end, talking about all this and that and the other shit. And this is going to be a lot like the thing from last week where Mick Foley gave Ambrose a present. Terry says he's got a present for him too. And I'm thinking, there's no way in fucking hell Funk is going to give him what I think he's going to give him. And sure enough, he whips out the fucking chainsaw, slams it down on this table that's sitting in front of Ambrose, and I'm like, there's no fucking way they're gonna do this. He's like, here's the chainsaw, and then Funk fucks off. I'm like, what the fuck? Am I in some alternate universe where this actually works? And the crowd, during the video, I guess, the live crowd was chanting, I don't know if it was ECW or CZW. It sounded like CZW, but maybe it was ECW. I don't know. But Funk fucks off after giving the chainsaw to Ambrose, and Ambrose is looking at it, he's like, there's no way this thing's real, and he grabs it, and he starts yanking on the pull cart, and he's like, no, there's no way this thing's real. Sure enough, he gets the son of a bitch to start, and he revs it up, and you can even see the chain moving on the blade. I'm like, there's no fucking way in hell he's gonna use this thing. And he cuts through the fucking table 3 goddamn times. He puts blade marks in it 2 foot long. And there's people behind him in the bar, and they're like, what the fuck is this lunatic doing? They're scared out of their minds, and I'm not surprised, because, like, this motherfucker's wielding a chainsaw in the middle of a bar. He fucking cuts this table up 3 times, and there's sawdust flying and shit, and I'm like, what the fuck? He can't use that in the match versus Lesnar. I'd like him to, but there's no way it's gonna fly. That's one bump I'm sure Lesnar's not willing to take. Anyways, after that, they cut to a commercial. And I'm thinking, did we just jump the shark? What the fuck? You can't have somebody with fucking chainsaw on the wrestling show. This ain't Scarface. We can't through somebody's fucking arm in the shower of the fucking motel. Anyways, coming back from the commercial break, there's Stephanie in the office or whatever the fuck. Up comes Kevin Owens. And he's like, did you see that crap out there that just happened? And he's like, with your permission, I'd like to make a triple threat match to see who is good enough to be #1 contender for my Intercontinental title. And Stephanie's like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. We get a recap of Shane's return from a month ago or however long it's been now. And that turns into a Hell in a Cell match hype video. Like, they're showing Shane training, or maybe I'm jumping ahead, I don't remember, but whatever. They had all these people talking about the Hell in a Cell match and how it's super dangerous, and this is right up Undertaker's alley, and Shane's in for the fight for his life. All this other shit, who gives a fuck? And then we went to jump the shark again. We cut, after this whole video package and everything, we cut backstage. There's the New Day guys coming through one of the hallways. They run up to one of the backstage guys and they're like, yo, man, dude, the bootios. And the dude starts twerking. Like, this is a white dude with no ass, and he's fucking twerking, backing that ass up. And I'm like, what the fuck? Talk to the divas. Have them twerk for you. That's how it's supposed to work. They go up to another guy, and he gets fucking upside down on his hands with his feet up against the wall, because I've seen chicks do the twerk that way, but he's doing it. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Apparently they're getting ready for some shit next, and they cut to another commercial. So I'm like, yeah, jumping the shark. What the fuck? Guys don't twerk, okay? Guys don't have the ass to twerk. And it wouldn't look good even if they did. Only chicks can twerk. Seriously, ask the divas. Or is that too degrading for them? Being bitchy cunts and shrill-voiced whores isn't bad enough. No, we draw the line at twerking. I'm sure Paige would, because she's classier than that. And probably Natty, too. But, like, the rest of them hoes? Cameron and Naomi especially, I'm sure they'd line up. They probably already know how to twerk, because they've probably had to do it half their fucking lives. Anyways, I'm getting off topic. Never mind. Coming back from the commercial break, the League of Nation morons are already in the ring. And they're getting ready to cut a promo. Rusev, for some fucking reason, has a mic. He starts screaming gibberish. I don't know what the fuck he was saying. It was probably in Bulgarian or Russian or whatever the fuck. It's like, why the fuck isn't Lana with you to talk for you? Any excuse to see her hot ass, you know. She hasn't been with him since the League of Nations thing formed. She's off doing her own thing with Brie Bella. I don't know what the fuck. But anyways, after Rusev gets done screaming, Sheamus starts talking, and I don't remember what the fuck he said. A bunch of hot garbage. And he segues into, let's play a clip from last week, the beatdown we gave on the New Day. And I'm like, yeah, that's all well and good, but your clip actually was unfortunate to include you getting beat in that match. It started at the finish to the match, they getting beat, and then jumping the New Day looking like a bunch of cowards. The League of Nations looking like cowards, that is. After the clip, Del Rio said some shit, I think. Who cares? Finally, the New Day's music hits, and they come out to a nice pop. Big E starts talking, and then Woods starts talking, and they get in the ring, and the League of Nations guys are on the floor over by the commentary table, and they're just standing there. The New Day guys are just talking shit about each individual member of... No, I'm jumping ahead. The New Day guys are in the ring, and they whip out these, like, not cue cards, but just like these big cards that have words written on them. It's like, you are trash, and it's a picture of a trash can. And I'm like, okay. And then Kofi whips out a trash bag. And Woods repeats it. He's like, you, he takes the thing and he puts it in the trash bag, are trash. And then Kofi boots the bag at the League of Nations guys. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? And then they start running through the League of Nations guys, and they run each of them down. One of them starts talking about, Rusev, I'm glad you finally put on a pair of boots because your feet are sweaty and smelly and nasty and all that shit. And then they start talking about Barrett like, you're a king with no crown, no cape, no scepter, no nothing. You just suck. And they talk... Oh, but then they segued into this really painful joke about... King, what if we were the three kings, you know? And they start doing this horrible skit where they're like, oh, he's shameful, whatever the fuck. And then they're like, shame, segue into Sheamus, because it's in your name, shame. It's like your parents knew what you were going to do to him. Shame us. I'm like, that was actually kind of funny. I don't know if they said anything about Del Rio. This was about the 9 o'clock hour, by the way. The crowd started chanting Bootios. And then the New Day guys gets the crowd to chant New Day Rocks. And by the way, the whole time the New Day guys were running through the League of Nations guys, they're standing on the floor just kind of laughing it off. Like, we don't give a shit what you say, whatever the fuck. But after the New Day Rocks, the League of Nations guys try to jump into the ring, and a brawl breaks out. You know, it's 4-on-3 brawl, whatever the fuck, they're beating the shit out of them. I think the New Day got the upper hand. What we were apparently supposed to get is a singles match. We do get it, but this big brawl takes place. But we do get the match. It's Rusev versus Big E. I'm sorry, I don't know why my nose is so stuffed up and running like this. So we get Rusev versus Big E, and the first thing I had to write down was Big E got Rusev laid out somehow, and Rusev was underneath the bottom rope over by the apron, and he's hanging out of the ring. Well, Big E gets out of the ring onto the apron, and he runs, and he splashes Rusev on the edge of the apron and falls to the floor. So that was interesting. After that, they cut to a commercial. Coming back from the commercial, they're like, oh yeah, during the commercial, Kofi and Woods got the shit beat out of them by the other members of the League of Nations. They're laid out over by the fucking timekeepers area. And they stay laid out for a good 5 or 6 minutes or so. But that happened during the commercial. Big E went for his big splash, but Rusev got his knees up to counter it. The New Day are still wiped out. Big E was in the corner. Rusev charged him, and Big E did the nice Samoa Joe spot where he catches him and slams him down. Big E went to hit his apron spear, running through the ropes, hitting the guy on the apron to the floor. Rusev got his knee up and hit him, so yeah, that was good. Not really good, but whatever. It's nice to see these counters because, yeah. Anyways, after that, Big E started making his comeback. He managed to hit his splash finally. Rusev hit a super kick on Big E. All of a sudden, they cut over to the other side of the ring. There's Xavier Woods flying all over the place, hitting the other League of Nations guys. Just Del Rio and Barrett, though. And Woods lays the two of them out. Sheamus comes over and stops Woods somehow. I don't know, he probably brogue kicked him, but Woods gets laid out. In the ring, Rusev goes for the accolade on Big E, but Big E counters it and gets him up into the electric chair drop, and they fall backwards doing that. Sheamus was up on the apron, and he got apron speared by Big E, so he gets taken out like that. Big E landed on his fucking head in the process of that, by the way, so I think he may have hurt himself more. The referee is watching that, but on the other side of the ring, Rusev is, up against the ropes on the side of the ring over by the commentators. Kofi jumps up on the apron and kicks Rusev in the fucking head. Big E jumps back in the ring, gets Rusev up, hits the big ending. 1, 2, 3, Big E wins. So Big E won, and the League of Nations guys fucked off. They didn't really want to keep fighting, I guess. We get hype for something else that's going to take place later. There's going to be an announcement from Vince regarding the Hell in a Cell match with Shane and Undertaker. So we get hype for that. They also hype up the match between Ambrose and Strowman. Cutaway gag. And they cut to the Wyatts up on the damn Titantron. Bray talks first, Harper says something, Rowan says something, Braun says something, and Bray finishes up, and then says, "Run." And they cut away gag again to a commercial. And I'm thinking, yeah, it's ironic Bray telling anybody to run. I'm thinking, Bray, you need to run your ass on the treadmill and get into fucking shape, you fat ass. Fuck you. And whatever. So there's the end of that page of notes. Yeah, I got 3 pages of notes, although this one's hardly got anything on it. Coming back from the commercial, over there by the commentary table, there's the Andre the Giant trophy that they have for the Andre Memorial Battle Royal thing that they've been doing at WrestleMania for the past couple years. And I'm thinking, why the fuck are they still doing this shit? It hasn't helped anybody. Cesaro won it the first year. He went nowhere. Big Show won it last year. Nothing happened from it. And guess what? Big Show comes out. And he talks. And he puts over Andre saying, I always say that I'm the best giant of all time, but, I gotta give credit. Andre's actually the best giant of all time. And, last year it was a big thing for me to win the Andre Battle Royal. But I want to win it again this year because it still means something to me. Why? It's a complete throwaway match just to give people a WrestleMania payday. That's all it's for. There's nothing really on the line. There's nothing at stake. No title matches. No even shots at title matches. There's nothing. It's completely meaningless. So, whatever. Big Show's cutting this promo. He's interrupted by the social fucktards. The Outcasts. They come out to no fucking reaction, because the crowd don't give a fuck. Slater starts talking shit. And then Bo says something, and then Axel says something, and then Rose says something. And they're talking about, you're going to be in trouble, Show. And Show says, the only trouble I'm going to have is figuring out which one of you idiots to knock out first. So the fucktards jump in the ring, and they start trying to beat up the Big Show. Well, at first, Big Show's fighting him off fairly well. Like, the first thing he does was he throttles, I don't remember who the fuck it was, but he grabs somebody by the throat. Somebody chop blocked him from behind, got him down on a knee. He threw somebody off like this, and then backdropped somebody. And then, I don't even remember what the fuck. Finally, they start beating him down, because it's 4-on-1. They beat him down, and then for no fucking reason, Kane's pyro up on the stage, and he comes out. And I'm like, what the fuck is Kane doing here? Why does he give a fuck about Big Show? He comes out and he cleans house. He throws Slater out and he throws Axel out and he throws Rose out. And then there's Bo. And Bo's like, whoa. Handshake? And Kane grabs him by the hand and chucks him over the fucking top rope. Big Show gets up and he hugs Kane, and Kane's just standing there like, don't fucking touch me. But anyways, Big Show hugs him, and then he goes over to the corner of the ring and gets up like on the middle rope, and he's like, yeah, whatever, Kane's the man, you know. And Kane comes over and like taps him, and Show turns on, he's like, what's the matter? And he's like, ah! Kane grabs him by the throat, super choke slams him off the fucking second rope, slams the fuck out of him. And then Kane does his fucking pyro, and he fucks off. And that's the end of that segment. I'm so like, what the fuck? Does Kane want to win the fucking Andre the Giant Battle Royal? Because why? There's no point. Ugh. After that, the WWE, there was a commercial after that. And after the commercial, they decide to confirm the news that was leaked earlier today, that being that the next Hall of Fame inductee is going to be Stan the Lariat Hansen, who, I'm like, this motherfucker should have been in the Hall of Fame years ago. Stan Hansen, for those of you who don't know, he's from Texas, and he is one of the stiffest, most hardest-hitting motherfuckers to ever lace up a pair of wrestling boots. This motherfucker is a badass. They call him the Lariat because that was his move. He would clothesline the shit out of people. And JBL even happens to mention, I did tribute to him with my clothesline from hell. And I'm like, yeah, but his was always better than yours because you're a piece of shit, JBL. Whatever the fuck. All of a sudden, I'm hearing Fandango's music, and I'm like, what the fuck? There's Johnny in the ring, and I'm like, oh, great, what is this? And then Jericho comes out to no fucking reaction. And they show a recap clip from earlier, the match with AJ and Owens and Jericho interfering. Well, yeah. We get a match between Fandango and Jericho. And the match was crap because it was really short and it's basically just storyline filler. I had to write down shit insults from Jericho. Jericho was pissy. He was yelling at the commentators. He didn't beat me at WrestleMania. It never happened. I'm like, yeah, Chris, it did. It really did. He knocks Fandango down. He's picking him up and he's like, you're a stupid man. And I'm like, you've got the insults of a 2-year-old. Jericho. What the fuck? I wanted Johnny to just knock Jericho's fucking teeth in. I guess Jericho slapped him or something, but that fired up Johnny and he starts whacking him and everything. He lays Jericho out. He goes up to the top rope and he goes for his big leg drop, you know. Jericho gets out of the way, of course. And so Johnny busts his ass on the fucking mat. Jericho goes for the walls of Jericho. He's struggling to get it on. And then all of a sudden you hear somebody's voice coming up from the stage. It's AJ chanting Y2J, Y2J, you know. He's trying to do the same thing that Jericho did to him. Well, it doesn't really work. Because even though during the distraction, I think Johnny was able to spin out of the Walls of Jericho attempt. Jericho bitch slapped him away, hits a code breaker on him, and gets the 1-2-3. And the crowd's dead, because they're like, fuck this Jericho motherfucker. AJ is coming down to the ring as well. Well, after the match, AJ runs into the fucking ring, dives in, and Jericho punks out and fucking bitches out of the ring like a pussy. Well, Jericho's walking away, and AJ's still in the ring. He's like, where you going? He gets a mic. He's like, where the fuck you going, bitch? You want to do this or what? You want to fight me? He's like, you say you're the best there is at what you do. I guess you're just the best at running away from me, you know. And he says, you know, I've wrestled all over the world, but there's one place I haven't wrestled at. And he points over his shoulder at the WrestleMania sign. I've never wrestled at WrestleMania. And I want you at WrestleMania. What do you say? Jericho, he's yelling at the fucking crowd. They're yelling shit at him, whatever the fuck. That's basically it for that segment. They show another little video package for the Hell in a Cell stuff. And they say, up next, we're going to have more of this special look at the Hell in a Cell match. That's going to continue next. And they cut to another commercial. Well, of course, after the commercial, they show more of this Hell in a Cell video. It's mostly just Shane training. He's fucking for real with this shit. He's training at an MMA dojo with one of the Gracies. I don't know, I'm not up on my MMA stuff, so I don't really know who it was. It was one of the Gracies. The Gracie family is known in MMA because they're, you know, like Hoist Gracie started like this whole big MMA craze like 10 years ago, and it's evolved so much since then. He like competed at the first couple UFC events and absolutely decimated because he's that good. Well, after they show that video, and it's more of like talking with different superstars, Shane's crazy, he's willing to put himself on the line, but Undertaker, you know, it's Hell in a Cell and it's WrestleMania, whatever the fuck. They get done with that shit. And they have more hype for the announcement that Vince supposedly has about the match. And then they cut backstage to Owens, who's sitting there with a couple of referees. He's in like one of the back hallways or something. And they say that triple threat match is going to be up next. And they cut to a commercial. Coming back from the commercial, Owens is standing in the ring and his music is playing. And he's got a microphone. And he kind of looks over at Lillian and he's like, that's okay, Lillian, I got this from here. You know, we don't need you. He basically does the ring announcing for the match. And he's talking like, this is the stupidest shit. Basically what he does is he fakes everybody out with the introductions. Like, he starts off by saying, the first guy is this big star in Hollywood, the brightest star in Hollywood. And then he's like, and it's funny because star is actually in his name. And I'm like, star's not in the word Miz, but he's like, no, Stardust. Out comes Stardust. And I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? He comes out. And then he's like, and then Owens is like, yeah, and this next guy is known the world over for wrestling in a mask. And I'm thinking, okay, that's clearly a reference to Generico or Sami Zayn. But he's like, no, Sin Cara. And Sin Cara, I'm like, fucking shit. Owens completely faked this out. Yeah, Sin Cara comes out. And then fucking Owens is like, and this next guy is known for acting like a teenager even though he's like 30 and wearing clothes like, I don't even remember what the fuck he said. Does ugly fucking clothes and shit like that. And I'm like, okay, well that's obviously a jab at Ziggler. And then he's like, no, Zack Ryder. And I'm like, okay, well nice that you fucking, is the guy acting like a kid even though he's like 30. This Ryder sucks and he's a punk bitch. So out comes Ryder. And then Owens goes over to the commentary table and he joins commentary. And so and this is about the 10 o'clock hour, by the way. Well, we get this match between Stardust and Sin Cara and Ryder. And what ends up happening, there's a bunch of shit. They're trying to go on with this match like nothing's wrong. Well, anyways, out comes Sami Zayn, and he's heading over towards the commentary table to have words with Owens. And he's followed by The Miz, who also comes out, same thing, as well as Ziggler comes out last. And they're all going over towards the commentary table to be like, what the fuck are you doing, Owens? This was supposed to be us. Owens gets up from commentary, and they're all like, what the fuck, you know? And this brawl breaks out. Let's see, what happens? During the course of the stare down between the four on the outside, who was it? Stardust gets thrown out of the ring and lands at the feet of these guys, and I think Owens pushed Stardust into the Miz, or pushed Ryder into the Miz, and just big brawl between all 7 of these guys break out, and they're all fighting each other, and they're all fighting for a shot to get a crack at Owens. Well, they end up in the ring. Owens dumps out of the ring, and he runs the fuck away. So, yeah, when the brawl broke out, the ref had the bell ring, and I'm like, what the fuck? There's no DQ in a triple threat match. So, I guess it was ruled a no contest. This was just to set up the match at Mania that's going to happen. They cut to showing a recap of the shit that happened between Roman and Stephanie at the start of the show. And then that cuts into Stephanie backstage in the office again. She's on the phone with someone saying, you know, I'm actually thinking I'm going to leave. And I'm like, okay, great, get the fuck out of here, bitch. And she's like, yeah, come and pick me up in the back parking lot and bring the car or whatever. Owens comes running up to her. And he's like, did you see what just happened out there? These guys are crazy. They're maniacs. And Stephanie's like, you know what, you little whiny bitch? I saw what happened and you chickened out like a bitch. So, you know what we're going to do since you're such a coward? All 6 of those guys are going to be against you in a 7-man ladder match at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title. And the reason why the whole ladder thing came up is because earlier on in the thing, the other segment with Owens and Stephanie, Owens mentioned something about climbing the ladder here in the WWE. Yeah, now you're going to have to climb a real ladder to get your fucking title. So anyways, they cut to commercial break. Coming back from the break, there's Stephanie backstage. She's got a coat on and she's getting ready to leave. Well, there's a truck, or it's an SUV, it looked like an Escalade waiting. She gets in the car, or no, she comes up to the car. Door opens, there's Triple H. And he lets Stephanie into the car, and he gets into the car, and they close the door, and they're getting ready to take off. Well, there's this ramp that goes down to a gate. The gate comes up, and as it's coming out, you can see somebody standing there. And I'm like, okay, I see where this is going. Thing gets up, it's Roman. He's standing there in a coat, looking, you know. He comes running up to the fucking car, yanks open the door, grabs Triple H and just starts pounding him, throws him in. There's like a rail there, he throws him into that. He's beating the shit out of Triple H again, and all I can hear is Stephanie screaming from inside of the fucking car, like she's being knifed to death. And I'm like, bitch, quit screaming. Well, Roman's beating the crap out of Triple H, throws him into the back of the truck, fucking gets him down, whatever the fuck. They go around to the other side. Triple H opens the door to try to jump in to get away. Roman grabs him, pulls him back. Triple H punches him and knocks him back. He jumps in the car real quick, shuts the door, and he's like, go, go. The car takes off and out the fucking gate, and they're gone. And Roman is left there like, fuck, you know. Cut to commercial. Again. Coming back from the commercial, they recap what just happened. And then they cut live back to the arena. there's Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks on opposite sides of the commentary table. They're actually on commentary. They got the microphones and everything, or the headsets. They're on commentary talking a bunch of shit. Who gives a fuck? It's all talking about the damn Divas title match that nobody gives a fuck about. They recap the shit from SmackDown. There was supposed to be a face-to-face-to-face between the three of them. Whatever the fuck. They recap that, and then they cut over to the ring. There's Natalya wearing this interesting ring gear. It actually looked nice, I guess. Charlotte comes out with Flair, Rick. No reaction. And we get this match between the two of these girls. And it was a crap match. Natalya had Charlotte in the sharpshooter for a minute, but Charlotte got to the ropes. And then she hits this god-awful looking move. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? Natalya was like down on all fours, because she was like getting up after something. And Charlotte comes over and does like this flip over thing into like a cutter, like a diamond cutter kind of thing. And Michael Cole's like, that's the natural selection. And I'm like, is it now? Yeah, because Charlotte had gone for the figure eight, and Natalya like pulled it into a small package. I'm like, yes, roll her up. You know, and it didn't work. She kicked out. There was a couple of different roll-ups that only got twos in this match. And I'm like, what the fuck? That move is usually so devastating that you can't get out of it. But yeah, Charlotte hits this shitty flip-over cutter thing on Natty. And it's like, it looks like shit because Natalya's head was literally like a foot off of the ground, the mat. And so she's like, Like, that was all the extent of it. She went, and takes the bump, and Charlotte covers her 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, well, that was a bunch of shit. Crowd's dead, by the way, of course. Becky and Sasha got up from their chairs, and they're like, come on, Charlotte, bring it on, whatever the fuck. Those two were nipping at each other the whole time on commentary, and it was shit. We get another recap. We get a recap of the Ambrose segment from earlier with Funk and the chainsaw, and they show him chainsawing through the fucking table again. More hype for the Ambrose versus Strowman match, and they cut to a commercial break. That was about 10:30, and that's when I left to go give my friend a ride. So I missed the whole rest of Raw, but apparently I didn't miss much. Like I said, I got some notes on it. Here's what happened. The Dudleys come out to no reaction in Philly. You know, Philly was the old home of ECW. The Dudleys have scorned that so badly, they got no reaction. So I thought that was funny as fuck. You guys are so unover, you're not even getting a pop in what should basically be your hometown, essentially. Apparently, they had words for R-Truth, who was in the ring, or he came out, I don't know what the fuck. There was a match between Bubba and Truth, which Bubba won, and no one gave a shit. I guess they started beating down Truth. Goldust came out for the save. He gets the shit beat out of him. And then the Usos come out for the save, and they got booed. Probably just because they're related to Roman. I don't know. Who gives a shit? End of that part. Vince came out and gave his announcement for the Hell in a Cell match. Basically what it was if Undertaker loses, he's done. This is going to be his last WrestleMania if he loses. So now the Undertaker actually has something at stake. It's basically a retirement match for him. He should retire no matter what, but whatever. Ambrose came out and did not get a very good reaction from the crowd, which is surprising because he usually does get a pretty good reaction from the crowd. So that's the end of that page. And the last little bit of notes, we have the match of Ambrose versus Strowman. The match, it's probably because of Strowman. It's definitely because of Strowman. It was so bad, the crowd started chanting, "This is boring," during an Ambrose match. That, like, never happens because Ambrose is so good. What ends up happening is Ambrose uses the steel chair and gets himself disqualified. So, I guess Strowman wins by DQ. And that was the main event of Raw. And I couldn't find any notes, anything that happened after the match, so I'm just going to assume that Raw ended right after the match. So, that was it. That was Raw. In Philly. It was boring. It was lame. There was a couple of fucking good spots, I guess. Like I said, the match between Styles and Owens that opened the show was actually a pretty fairly good match. Until they ruined it with the shit finish of the roll-up and the Jericho distraction and all this other crap. So yeah. So there was that match. I'll just go over the matches like I always do. There was that match. Big E beats Rusev in an alright match. That was actually a pretty okay match too. Fandango gets punked out by Jericho in a crap match. Even with AJ trying to help Fandango, or just trying to hurt Jericho, really, he still couldn't get the win. So there was that. And then we had the triple threat match between Stardust, Sin Cara, and Zack Ryder that was supposed to be for the Intercontinental title #1 contendership. Went to a no contest, which leads, of course, to the announcement that it's going to be 7-man ladder match at WrestleMania, which I'm pretty sure they did that last year. And Daniel Bryan wound up winning the Intercontinental title, and that's what led to him getting the final concussion that ended his career. So, hopefully, this match doesn't go that badly. Of course, it wasn't anything about the match itself that killed Bryan's career. It was just him winning the title because that belt is cursed. He was the champion and he got another concussion and whatever the fuck. So yeah. After that, we got the crap match with Charlotte beating Natty with the natural selection, which is one of the lamest Divas finishers. It's not as bad as the rear view, but hopefully that's not a finisher anymore, after somebody kicked out of it, I think. I don't remember. Who cares? We had that match. It was crap. Apparently, Bubba Ray beat R-Truth in a match. Nobody cared. And then Ambrose gets himself disqualified against Braun Strowman, so Strowman wins by DQ in the main event of Raw. Why the fuck is Braun Strowman main eventing Raw? He sucks. He's worse than Rowan. And I thought Rowan was fucking green as goat shit. Yeah, so that was Raw from March 21st, 2016, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The Wells Fargo Center. It sucked. It was so bad I had to leave half an hour before the fucking show ended because I was bored. I didn't miss much. Honestly, I'm kind of glad I did leave because this is boring. This is boring. We had 2 good matches, Owens and Styles, and then Big E and Rusev, and I can't believe Rusev actually had a good match, but it was mostly Big E working his ass off to make the match good. And we had that fucking segment with Ambrose getting the chainsaw and just cutting. Oh, God. What the hell? I think you just jumped the shark here, WWE. I really think you did. We're 13 days away from WrestleMania, as they kept saying. So we've got 1 more week of Raw and SmackDown to go through before WrestleMania. And I still have to do SmackDown for this week. So, 3 shows, and then I'm going to be doing my pay-per-view predictions. And we're going to see WrestleMania and see if that's any good. It won't be. It fucking won't be. The WWE knows how badly they've booked and built up to this WrestleMania. That's why they're giving away the network for free this month. Or next month, or whatever it is, wherever WrestleMania month is. They know they screwed the pooch on this. And they're like, okay, fine, we'll give it to you for free. Because the pay-per-view providers won't touch us at this point. We've given them the finger so much, they basically disowned us. That's what the WWE is now. It's a child who has been disowned by its parents. It's so goddamn bad. So yeah, like I said, that was Raw. It was crap. My hair's fucked up. So like I said, that was Raw. It was not very good. So boring I had to leave. So yeah, that's Raw. Once again, March 21st, 2016, Philadelphia, PA, the Wells Fargo Center. It was boring for the most part. Only a couple of good matches, and that one what the fuck segment from Ambrose and Terry Funk. Oh, God. What's next? Are we going to have somebody else, some other hardcore legend, give Ambrose another fucking weapon? Like, the barbed wire baseball bat, I can see Ambrose using that during the match. There's no chance in hell he's using that chainsaw. He might chase Heyman around with it, but he's never actually going to fucking hit anybody with it, because it would kill them. It would literally... Not that I don't want to see Lesnar get killed, because I do. Because fuck that Neanderthal Mongoloid piece of shit. But it's just not going to happen, folks. It's a fucking... Wrestling is a fucking TV show. It's... You can't kill somebody for realsies on a TV show. What's next? Is the Sandman going to give Ambrose his kendo stick? Is, the fucking... It's too bad the Dudleys gave up the table gimmick. They could have given the table to Ambrose. Maybe they will. They're like, well, we don't have any use for this anymore. You take it. Here. Because Ambrose has put people through tables before. He's pile-driven fuckers through tables before. I'm like, yeah, can Brock take a pile driver through a table? That would be great. You know, instead of doing this match as a, what was a no-holds-barred street fight, it should have been a last man standing match. Because Ambrose would not stay down. He cut a promo once where, like, you can beat me up, you can blow me up, you can burn me, but I'm going to keep coming. You're going to have to run me over with a car to get rid of me. I don't get hurt. I don't stop. I don't get tired. That's what Ambrose was saying. I'm like, yeah, Brock is going to find this out. It needs to be a last man standing match. And Ambrose could just get Lesnar to punch himself out. You know, use up all of his strength beating up Ambrose. Ambrose is just taking it. And meanwhile, Lesnar doesn't have that much fucking stamina anyways because he's a giant piece of shit. The dude weighs like 290 pounds, or maybe even over 300 pounds. Lesnar is pretty damn big. He can't possibly have that much stamina. I'm pretty sure all of his UFC fights were pretty quick. Because he can't go for very long, carrying all that weight, even if it is muscle mass. Steroid muscle mass, but whatever. Anyways, done ranting. That was Raw. It was boring. I had to leave half an hour before the end of it. Whatever. Thank you for watching. Gonna do SmackDown hopefully in the next couple of days for spoilers there. So thank you for watching. Join us next time for the SmackDown spoilers, and I'll see you then for that. So good night.